Hi everyone, this is Ben Colby, teen librarian, Enoch Pratt. I'm going to start off today's advanced video with a definition, SVG file. This stands for Scaled Vector Graphics. It is a type of file that we can use for 3D printing. It's an image file like some other types you've met before, the JPEG, TIFF, PNG, GIF. But unlike all those types, an SVG file is black and white only. It reduces all the colors down to just black and white. So why would we want to do that? Well, one reason is that we use these files for digital fabrication, including laser cutting, including Cricut, if you've ever used one of those. We use SVG files for those. And for that reason, the file is sometimes called a cut file. But we're going to use it today for a reason other than cutting, because you can also load it into a CAD editor. So check this design out. This is I created a frame for this photograph. This is an old photograph from around 1943 of the Enoch Pratt book wagon. And whenever you try to capture a actual photograph using this method, you end up with some chaos like this. And so you want to be kind of careful with your settings to kind of reduce the chaos so that the images come out clearly. However it looks in Tinkercad, it's going to look a little bit more chaotic on the other end when you 3D print it. So just be aware of that. The activity I'm going to demo, though, is not about a photograph, though. I just wanted you to be aware that that is something you can do. Let me go into just a Google search. I've done a Google search here for SVG free. There are a lot of websites where you can get SVG files. It can be a scam sometimes. They'll tell you like it's free, but then you have to give them your credit card information and they'll sign you up for emails and stuff. You don't want to do all that. If you can find a good source for free SVG files, that's great. But what I would recommend is just using a Google image search with the word SVG in it and see if you can come up with something like this. So this Baby Yoda thing caught my eye as I was throwing. Oh, this hummingbird is really nice too. That's a good one. But let's take a look at this Baby Yoda. I want one that doesn't have these hash marks on it. So I'm just going to scroll down here. That's good. So this is not an SVG file that I'm downloading. It's just a regular JPEG, but that's fine. Save image as Yoda. So I've got the file, and now I'm going to go to a conversion website. So I'm going to go to, let's say, picsvg.com. You can also just Google online file converter, SVG converter. There are many sites, but this one is easy for me to use, picsvg.com. And the nice thing about this site is you can preview your result before you download it. So I'm going to upload a picture. I've got Yoda right there, which I just downloaded. There it is, and I'm producing this SVG file. I have some settings that I can mess with. I want it to be nice and dark. That's interesting. You got the little thing opening up above his head. That one's not bad. I'm going to stick with that. So I'm going to download that file. And now I'm going back to Tinkercad. I'm going to go to my dashboard and start a new design. Oops. Something happened there. Okay, hold on. Okay, Tinkercad hiccuped for a second, but it looks like it's back. So I'm starting a new design, and I'm going to go to Import. I'm going to grab that SVG file that I just created. I can adjust the scale here. Usually it's going to be much too big. Huh. Cute. Okay. That looks pretty good. So let's first get it down to a size we want to use. I can make it kind of big and flat. So 200 will work, actually. now that I think about it. And as far as width, you could really go almost to 250. I guess that'll work. No, because 200 is still too much in the other direction. Okay, fine. So that's good. So the dimensions here, I've got 190 by 214. How tall? Doesn't need to be very tall at all. Just a few millimeters. Let's say 5. Now, of course, we need something to hold this all together, or it'll print as separate shapes, which we don't want. So in this case, we probably just have to use a cylinder. Depending on the shape you're using, you might have different choices. But I'm just going to stretch it out. Well, you know what? I'm going to use the Shift key because I want to keep it as a perfect circle. And it gets really tall, but that's fine. Let me just flatten it to 2 or 3. 2 is fine. Ooh, 4, whatever. And then just try to center that. And it's okay if those ears pop out a little bit. That's pretty cool. That's pretty good. I want to give this just a little more room for a color change. So I'm going to take this from 5 up to 6. And that gives us plenty of time to do the color shift between this layer and this layer. Pretty cool. Let me add one more element to this text. And that is, of course, this is the way. Boom. And I'm just going to shrink this a little bit till it fits. And then just make sure that pokes out just a little. Pretty good. Everything is connected. How are we going to hang this on the wall? In this case, I think just one ring is going to do it. So I'm just going to put one ring up here and probably flatten it a little bit. Yeah, and center it, or at least center it a little better. Cool. And so you have a pretty good design here that just uses a pretty small amount of filament because it's so flat. Isn't that cool? So yes, you can use any SVG capture for a method like this. And what else to say about that? You can use photographs. Just try to reduce the chaos, as I said. School images are really good to capture this way. Maybe something like a logo related to a musician or something would work. Yeah, so that's the advanced project.